community coping. Family and friends remember a Timpview High School student who passed away from the flu.
Hot housing. Homeowners are having a heyday as Utah houses sell like hotcakes. We'll tell you why finding a home is no easy task.
And Midwest Twister. A tornado rips through Mississippi, leaving behind a path of destruction. I'm Kristen Firmage.
And I'm Karen Sullivan. It's Monday, February 11th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
Timpview High students said goodbye to their friend and classmate Parker Allred. He suddenly got the flu, and his death surprised everyone. 11 News reporter Allie Monson attended the funeral and shows us how friends will remember Parker.
Blue eyes and a smiling face. That's how friends and family members will remember 16-year-old Parker Allred. His death from the flu on February 2nd hit this community hard. Hundreds gathered together Saturday to celebrate the person Parker was. The illness that took his life so quickly reminded everyone how fragile life can really be.
You really never know when anything like this is going to happen, and so it really was a large blow to everybody, even those who didn't know him, when we found out what had happened.
Parker's football teammates came to the funeral dressed in their uniforms. They came and sang a musical number to support his family.
Parker made a big impact on my life. He helped me try to be a better person, and I thank him for that a lot.
Family and classmates reflected on the positive influence Parker always was on people who knew him. And after the service, friends even wrote notes to him about how much he'll be missed.
Every time I saw him in the hallways at school, he'd always smile at me.
I would always see him in the halls, and he would always be smiling.
It shows the effect that one person can have on a lot of people's lives. You know, a lot of people in school that didn't even know him, you know, they still feel really touched by his example and his life.
In Provo, Allie Monson, 11 News.
Parker's sister Madison set up a blog where she shares pictures and memories of him. You can find the link to that blog on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Carbon County SWAT officers found a couple dead in their home in Price. Police say David Scott Donaldson called 911 early yesterday morning to say he shot his wife, Chanel K. Donaldson, and would later shoot himself. Authorities ruled the deaths a murder-suicide and that depression and marital problems are possible contributing factors. Search and rescue workers transported an injured skier to a hospital after an avalanche left him with a broken leg. The 41-year-old was backcountry skiing in Big Cottonwood Canyon Sunday when an avalanche buried him up to his neck. He was with 4 friends who were able to dig him out of the snow before a search and rescue helicopter picked him up.
A recent arrest reminds women of the need to keep safe when jogging on the Provo River Trail. 11 News reporter Roger Sanchez tells us what runners can do to keep clear of harm's way.
Police officer Sam Hunter was working a patrol shift along the Provo River Trail when he saw a female jogger with a male bike rider following her. She appeared to be nervous as she kept looking back at the man. Officer Hunter stopped him for not having a bike light.
In the course of the investigation, he found on the individual a knife, a gun, which later turned out to be a BB gun, but looked just like a real gun, and methamphetamines.
Police took the man into custody and booked him at the Utah County Jail for possession of meth. Police say really serious crimes have occurred on the river trail, including a rape and attempted homicide. A lot of joggers say they feel secure on the trail, but do think about what could happen.
Sometimes I get kind of worried that if I run, someone's going to come and attack me, but usually I feel pretty safe when there's like cars around and other people jogging.
Police can only speculate what the man's intentions were, but it could have been ill-willed, so police say it's best not to run after dark. Whether you're going for a quick jog or a long run, it's always important to pay attention to your surroundings, and it's always best to jog or run during daylight hours. Tragedy sometimes strikes, so it's important to be safe. So when running at night, it's always best to do it with a friend. In Provo, Roger Sanchez, 11 News.
Police say when wearing headphones, it's important to have your music low enough that you can still hear your surroundings and to run in areas of height. The FBI is getting involved in the investigation of former Utah Highway Patrol Corporal Lisa Steed. An FBI agent sent an email to a potential witness in Steed's civil rights case asking for details about an encounter with the officer. Steed is not yet charged with any crimes, but UHP fired her in November after rulings that she had lied on the witness stand. She is contesting the termination.
First-time homebuyers in Utah County are facing a new dilemma, finding available homes to buy. 11 News reporter John Hansen explains why homes are in such short supply.
If you're selling your home, realtors are saying the good news is houses are selling faster and faster. But if you're looking to buy a home, you better plan on being quicker than the next guy and hope that your offer comes out on top.
Larry Keller is an expert at selling homes, a title earned by more than 27 years in the business. He has seen our market through its highs and lows and wasn't surprised when it crashed a few years ago. But the good news from him is things are starting to look up.
It has been slower, but it's starting to pick up more. The rates have stayed low. They said they were going to keep them as low as they can.
Utah Housing Tracker reports that the number of homes under contract rose 20% in January, but the increase in home sales has created a different problem. The number of available homes dropped to about 20,000, the lowest it's been in 6 years. Keller says the causes of the shortage are the excellent financing and low home prices.
You're a little bit below 200 price range. You can still get an okay home for a decent price. And because of that, there's a lot of activity in that price range.
The low interest rates aren't only motivating first-time buyers. Many who have higher interest mortgages are refinancing.
Over the last 6 months, it's slowly been evaporating more, the number of homes that are available. But overall, you're just in a better position to buy because you're going to be paying about what you're paying in rent.
Utah County Association of Realtors reports that home inventory is down to about 2,000 homes, and a number that continues to fall every month since May 2010. Karen and Kristen?
111 News at Noon returns. Major announcement, Pope Benedict XVI is doing something no pope has done in 6 centuries.
And Culture Club found out what BYU's Polynesian students are doing to bring a piece of Hawaii all the way to Poland. Stay with us.
Billions of Catholics are in shock today after Pope Benedict XVI announced he will resign at the end of the month. His papacy began in 2005 after the death of Pope John Paul II. Benedict is the first pope to resign in nearly 600 years. The leader of 1.2 billion Catholics says he made the decision because of his advanced age. The Vatican says there will be a new pope before Easter and that Benedict will not be involved in choosing a new pope or in guiding the church after February 28th.
A 7th grader threatens a shooting in California, a twister tears through Mississippi, and a shooting at a Delaware courthouse. Here's your look at news from across the nation. A 12-year-old is in custody after police say a student threatened a mass shooting at a middle school near San Diego. Authorities say the 7th grader sent a school administrator an email Friday night saying someone would shoot a teacher and several students on Monday. Police arrested the student at home and seized 5 rifles reportedly belonging to the parents. Thousands are cleaning up today after a tornado whipped through Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The twister tore through buildings, homes, and trees, but that didn't stop several people from pulling out their phones to get video. Emergency officials say there were no deaths they're aware of, but it injured more than a dozen people. And 3 people are dead after a shooting in a courthouse lobby this morning in Wilmington, Delaware. The gunman reportedly killed his estranged wife and another woman before taking his own life. 2 police officers are also injured after exchanging fire with the gunman. And that's your look at news from across the nation. Karen?
All the snow can't stop Hawaiian culture from heating up BYU campus. 11 News reporter Jen Benson shows us why students are getting up to dance practice at the crack of dawn.
Every Saturday, these students meet at 6 a.m. to learn language, tradition, and authentic Hawaiian choreography to prepare for the annual BYU Luau.
When I dance, I feel proud to share my culture and to let everybody know who I am.
There are 6 shows that represent each of the Polynesian nations. Keoki Leong teaches the Hawaiian class. His students learn this dance heritage while singing facts about the islands in his native language.
In other cultures of the world, we share that unity and having that relationship with each other, whether it be helping each other with a dance, making someone's day, you know, a little nicer, smiling at someone. We can incorporate that through BYU Luau.
This is called a pa'o skirt. Hawaiians use this to tie it around their waist to emphasize their movement during the luau.
But to some students, the luau is more than just entertainment. Logo says he's made lifelong friends from many cultures as he practices.
You know, there's a point where I was kind of like straying away, but I kind of realized, you know, I mean, I guess I'm Polynesian for a reason. Knowing my culture, embracing it, and not trying to like shy away from it. I think that's very important.
With no pay or class credit, plenty of students are willing to celebrate more than 40 years of cultural dance. On BYU campus, Jen Benson, 11 News.
The big two-night event is March 12th and 13th and sells out every year. To buy tickets to the luau or get more information on joining, visit Jen's story on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Well, we did get our share of snow this weekend, I'll say that.
Brenna, can we have some Hawaiian heat here?
You know what, I'm not sure if it's going to be Hawaiian, but that storm you saw this weekend is over, and I'll let you know what to expect for Valentine's Day when 11 weather. Well, the good news is that southern Utah Wasatch front storm that hit us this weekend is officially moving out, and we'll see some clear skies and some drier conditions for the rest of the week. If you look outside right now, this is what the storm has left us with, this cool haze and fog thing that happened this morning with the sunrise. Very cool, but I promise you those clouds will burn off for the rest of the day, and we'll see some sun maybe towards the end of today. Walking outside in Provo right now, current temperature 19 degrees, colder than usual, but not that bad. Pretty high humidity and wind speed, calm enough to not really notice it. But that sun's going to come out and it should clear out just a little bit. Before the end of tonight, the sun will burn off those clouds. We'll see a little bit of it, but then of course when the sun sets, the temperature's going to drop down to 11 degrees. We'll see more clouds coming in and calm winds towards the end of the night. But hopefully that sun will be a nice surprise for just a little bit. If you see the radar around Utah right now, the blue of course is where it's snowing, just a little bit. We had some flurries in Utah in Provo this morning, as well as some in Salt Lake along the northern Wasatch Front. But this really should burn off by the rest of the day, and we shouldn't see any more precipitation today or for the rest of the first part of next week. If we look at the highs around the state, we are colder than usual. The average this time of year is about 10 to 12 degrees higher than the highs we're seeing right now. We're barely breaking the 30s in the Wasatch Front. Provo and Salt Lake, you made it there with 31, 34 in Price, 37 in Moa, but the rest are all these 20s. The winter storm that hit this last weekend was in this Nephi Cedar City stretch. So that's why Cedar City is so low at 28, and 48 degrees was our high for St. George. They're a little cool and kind of breezy today. 48 degrees is the high. 26, that's pretty low for February for southern Utah. But they'll have a little bit of cloud cover and it's a little breezy, but then it should warm up slowly, very, very slowly for the rest of the week. We'll get into the 50s, and then actually by Friday and Saturday we should get close to the 60s in southern Utah. That sun's going to be nice and warm and will only help to just increase the warmth that's needed down there. Northern Utah is a different case. The Canadian cold front is moving some of our temperatures way down, but it should be nice and dry. I put some snow on Monday because we did see some flurries this morning, but we shouldn't for the rest of the day. High of 31, low down in the teens. The rest of the week we'll see some sun, partly cloudy. Thursday, Valentine's Day, is the highest chance all week we have of snow. So if that's an excuse to cuddle up to someone, you're free to take it. Friday we'll finally see the sun and we'll see the temperatures warm up just a little bit. And hopefully by the weekend we'll see some more sun and maybe even some average for this time of year temperatures, which would be those upper 30s.
February, it's always pretty cold.
Just hold your breath, it's almost there.
All right, thank you, Brenna. Well, Sean, we wore green today, as you can see, because we're a little excited for March and basketball.
Well, after this last weekend, I don't know that there's much to be excited about. In fact, after this last weekend, I don't think anything went right for any of the teams in the state of Utah. And next on Sports, Cougar collapse. It's been a long week for BYU basketball, and it may have burst their NCAA bubble. And low notes. Were the Jazz singing the blues after hosting the Bulls and heading to Sacktown? You'll find out when sports is next. Stay tuned. BYU's been sitting squarely on the NCAA tourney bubble for weeks, needing a signature win and to avoid bad losses. Well, Saturday night didn't help them any. Both teams started off slowly, but no BYU game is complete without a big dunk by Mr. Mad Hop's Josh Sharp. And Brendan Davies got his pass on after finding Sharp. He finds Brock Zylstra going back door. but it was a rough night for Tyler Hawes. He was bothered by the Dons' physical play, and after this no call right here, the next time down court, he lets out his frustration and gets himself teed up. But the Cougars led by 9 at the half and then upped their lead to 15 early on in the second, but it was all Dons from there. They killed the Cougars from long range, hitting 9 of 10 from beyond the arc and scoring 60 points in the second half as they shocked the Cougars 99-87. The loss is BYU's 8th of the season and drops them well behind Gonzaga and St. Mary's in the WCC standings. Their RPI has slid more than 20 spots with their 2 losses this week, and both San Diego and San Francisco have RPIs worse than 130. The Cougars will likely have to win both at St. Mary's and against Gonzaga to have a shot at an at-large bid. And the weekend wasn't any better for the women, who lost the battle for sole possession of second in the WCC as they fell at St. Mary's 64-52. Haley Steed led the Cougars with 18 points and 7 assists, but BYU turned the ball over 17 times in the loss. They'll look to bounce back as they host Santa Clara on Thursday night at 7 in the Marriott Center. And BYU lost one of its golden voices yesterday as Jay Monson lost his 3rd battle with cancer. He was the play-by-play voice of the Cougars here on KBYU and on BYU Radio for 36 years, also filling in on KSL Radio from time to time. The broadcasting pioneer was inducted into the BYU Hall of Fame in 2010. And the bad weekend wasn't just confined to BYU. The Jazz had a Friday-Saturday back-to-back, hosting Chicago, then taking on Jimmer and the Kings in Sacramento. Let's start off with the Bulls. It was a back-and-forth battle in the first quarter, but Al Jefferson gives an early taste of the big night he'd end up having. But Chicago, they're known for their D, and they turned it into easy buckets, building an 8-point lead at the half off of shots like these. But the Jazz battled back behind Big Al, who poured in 32 points on a sizzling 68% shooting. But Carlos Boozer was too much down the stretch. He takes advantage of the familiar territory as the Jazz fall to doubles, 93-89. The Jazz caught an overnight flight to Sacktown, but they left their defense in Salt Lake City, giving up 31 points in the first quarter. The only bright spot for the Jazz was Alec Burks, who poured in 24 points off the bench to lead all Utah scorers. And even Jimmer got in on the fun, getting some playing time and making the most of it. He'd finish here and end up with 9. Maybe there's something to that free Jimmer movement after all. And the Kings never stopped scoring, rolling over the Jazz 120-109. The back-to-back losses dropped the Jazz to 28-24 on the season. They're sitting at 7th in the West, but they're 2.5 games back of 6th place Golden State, and 8th seed Houston is breathing down their necks just a half game back. The Jazz will look to bounce back as they host Kevin Durant and the Thunder tomorrow night at 7.
Well, I always love to see Jimmer playing well.
It is good to see Jimmer playing well, actually getting some playing time. But when BYU loses, BYU loses, BYU loses, the Jazz lose, it gets a little frustrating.
Yes. Still to come at 11 News at noon, Bacon Bonanza, a quirky little pig party, has become a money-making tourist attraction. We'll be right back.
It's a festival that really sizzles, a spectacle entirely dedicated to one of America's favorite breakfast foods. The Des Moines Blue Ribbon Bacon Festival isn't just about who can fry up the best bacon, but who can wear it the best. The Bacon Queen wears, you guessed it, a bacon dress. It started off as a quirky sideshow 6 years ago and is now so popular that 8,000 tickets sold out in 3 minutes. If you stretched out this year's 5 tons of bacon served, it would link 20 miles. Bacon dress just reminds me of Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I can see that. Or Hunger Games, and yes, the pun is intended on that.
No way. I'm actually really impressed by this. Have you ever had bacon ice cream before?
No.
But there's so many things you can do with bacon. You just have to be inventive.
I'm sorry, don't get me wrong, I love bacon, but mixing it with my dessert, I don't think I could do that.
Things like,
or with your clothing, right?
No.
I don't know, though, maple bars and bacon, that's always been a big hit.
Eat that?
I've seen that.
I've never seen
That's
that.
a real thing. Bacon donuts.
Yeah, no, and then have you tried the bacon chips, like the bacon flavored potatoes?
I believe that.
Those
I
are
definitely
actually
believe
good.
that.
I have tried those. Those are pretty good.
I just like my bacon by itself. With some eggs.
Yeah, just keep it
go for
nice
it
and classic.
Bacon.
I don't think I can make a dress without eating it. Maybe I'll
I
try.
could. Once it's a dress,
Should I
there's no
try
way.
then?
There's no way.
It's true.
Bacon. Well, that's it for 11 News at noon for Monday, February 11th.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon. There's nothing better to